I just got back from Cuba and wanted to visit some of the offices of these horrible members of Congress who have been doing everything they can to make life miserable for the people in Cuba. He's got his signs out. Oh, look at this one. Communist Cuba, a state sponsor of terrorism. That is such a lie. Cuba is not a state sponsor of terrorism, and everybody knows it. In fact, Biden took them off the list at the very end of his term because he knew it was not true, and then Trump just put it back on. And what happens when you're on that list is that the banks anywhere don't want to work with you. So you really are financially strapped, and this is on top of all the sanctions that have been going on for 60 years now with the precise goal of toppling the regime. They haven't toppled the regime for 60 years, but it has advanced the careers of people like Carlos Jimenez, who year after year are saying, this is the year that the communist regime is going to fall. It doesn't fall, but what happens is, as they tighten the sanctions, like they've done under Trump, it makes people's lives more and more and more difficult. The others would say this is all the problem of the communist government. But then there's a simple answer for that, which is lift the damn sanctions. Take Cuba off the terrorist list and see what happens. Let the Cuban people see for themselves. I just returned from Cuba, and I am just livid because the Cuban people are suffering so much. And I know that Congressman Jimenez will say it's all the fault of the Cuban government. But these sanctions are strangling people, normal people, everyday people. It's not toppling the government. It hasn't done that for 60 years, but it is making it very difficult for people to survive. And then they come to the United States, and then we have Trump saying, what are we going to do about all these immigrants who are coming here? How are we going to stop them from coming here? And I say there's an easy way to stop it, which is to lift the sanctions and take Cuba off the terrorist list. So I want to know why this member of Congress is so insistent on making the lives of people in Cuba so miserable.
Well, I can take your message and pass it along to him.
Well, it would be very important to say the sanctions are not toppling the Cuban government. The sanctions are making life miserable for the Cuban people.